Assalamu alaikum and welcome to another episode of Footballistan. Now, everybody knows that the July FIFA window for the women's national team is just coming up. The team is training at the moment in Karachi, and they're expected to play a FIFA friendly, which is rumored to be Singapore. It's not something that's been officially confirmed, but there are a lot of reports going on at the moment. And in the past, we've seen a number of players joining up with the national team, and I think I'd be very fair in saying that none of them has had the similar and the same level of impact, perhaps, as one player, because every time I talk about women's football, the question I get is where is Nadia Khan? When is Nadia Khan going to be back on the pitch? When is she going to be wearing the Pakistan jersey again? And I thought, why should I answer the question when I can get Nadia to answer that question and discuss her amazing story of growing up in the UK, playing football, and eventually representing the Pakistan national team. Nadia Khan is finally here at Footballistan. Nadia, thank you so much for taking out the time for us. And
No,
how
that's
are you
fine.
doing? We all know you were injured. How are you feeling now? What's going on?
No, thank you for having me on, and welcome to all the viewers out there who are watching this right now. And yeah, so there's a little hiccup at the moment. We'll start with. I've just injured myself playing out in Dubai whilst we was out in camp, and it's an ACL injury. The ACL injury tends to take a more longer period to recover from, but inshallah I'll be back to it soon. So we're looking at about next year me getting back into football. But yeah, inshallah, I'll be there soon. It's just a little hiccup, but it's okay. We'll think positive and we'll get back to it.
Definitely. And the fans, you've become an instant fan favorite in Pakistan as well. We're going to get to that, but I want to dive deeper into your story as well and just help us understand. And, if you could add a bit of timeline to that as well, so we can add a bit of context. How did you get into football? We've in the UK, we've seen South Asian men get into football, but only I think in
Mhm.
the last real 10, maybe 15 years have we seen women also start to emerge. And it is with its own challenges. But how did you get into football and not cricket?
Not cricket, yeah. Well, to begin with, I started athletics. Believe it or not, I was 100 meter. I went into, but I found it quite like it's not really a team sport. It's all singular, so you're constantly doing it yourself. That's probably why you see my speed on the pitch. It's because I actually used to do 100 meters. But I used to play a lot with my brothers in the garden playing football, just to kick around. And yeah, and me and my younger brother always used to play out on the street and stuff. And I really just, like not really the love began. It was just like I liked to have a kick around. But then my mum got some tickets to go, like for a day pass to go down to Power League, and that's where you play football. And so we went down there and then just having a kick around and stuff. And one of the coaches was watching me play. Well, I didn't realise there was a coach or a scout there from Leeds United, and he was watching me play. And he was like, "You should." He approached my mum and he was like, "She should get into football. Like she's really good for her age." I was about, say 10, about 10. And he was like, she should definitely get into football. And he was asking, like, have you played for a club before? And I was like, no, not really. Never played for a club. And he was like, no, she should definitely get into football. So, and then he gave us, well, he was a scout, so he gave us trials to go to Leeds United, RTC. And I was and ahhing, and mum was like, it's all right, you can give it a go. Like, what's the worst they could say no? So yeah, we went down, and me watching all the girls play football, because I normally watch the men's side of football. Watch, I was like, oh my god, all these actual girls actually play football and at a good level. Like, wow. And it was so amazing to see obviously the facilities and the coaching level of obviously how they were coaching the girls, and I was like, oh wow. And yeah, and it was a lot different to watching the athletics and running, singular. 'Cause it's a very like you have to be very strong in playing athletics, because you're always constantly doing everything by yourself. And running, you constantly doing it by yourself. And yeah, I wasn't really into that. But when I saw the team sport, and I was like, yeah, I'm loving this. But yeah, we went for the trials. And I was about 10, 11 when I was doing the trials, and I didn't get in. they knocked me back, and I was like, okay, fair enough. And then I joined a local club, and that was Wortley FC, and that's where Calvin Phillips played his first team. That was his first team. So I joined that club, and that was a local team, and then I played there. And you know, when you're playing in that kind of a league, obviously you're scoring about 6, 7 goals each match because the level's completely different to how obviously I was playing at. And then I went back next year because I wanted to get into Leeds United. That was my goal. So at that age, I wanted to get into that team because I saw that as a vision of, oh yeah, okay, I want to progress now. This is my little ambition. But it wasn't a little ambition then. It was like a little dream. But yeah, so my mum kept taking me to training. My mum and dad kept taking me to training sessions and played every Sunday and stuff. And I kept trying, and then went for trials the next year. This time I was like determined to get in, like I wanted to. So I went for trials, and there was three days of trials, each after like 1 week. And I didn't get in again. Got pushed back. So I was like, okay, didn't get in this. I did get in the first time, didn't get in the second. We'll go third time. Third time's always lucky. So we went back to the drawing board. This time I was training more rigorously. I wanted it, and I joined the
And just
development.
I wanna jump in here and ask you a
Mm-hmm.
question here, because one of the defining traits for you as a footballer is definitely your speed. And you mentioned the
Mm-hmm.
athletics part. Were you continuing your athletics training at this point while you were training football side by side, or was that something you had stopped by the time you were getting into the Leeds United RTC?
Yeah, so for the first year, I was carrying on. So the first year was joined, and then the second year, I left because I'm not focused on football. But yeah. So we focused, yeah, mainly on football then after that. And then, yeah, so the third year I was training, and I joined the development side, where I was training with my normal team and then development side. And then third year I went for trials, and then I got into the Leeds United MTC. Um, that was when I was at my like happiest. I was like, yes. And that's when I learned all the different like tiers and all the leagues and different, the like you could actually go from women's football, and that's when I properly fell in love with the sport. It was, yeah, when I was at Leeds.
Fantastic. And eventually you ended up joining Doncaster Rovers. How did that transition happen for you?
That transition, well, basically after the first season of, yeah, when I was at Leeds, a coach from Doncaster approached whilst I was at Leeds, and they was like, want to sign Nadia for our it was their development, well, it's like their reserves, but it's their development. So I signed for them, and then I think I was there for 2 years, and then I moved across to the first team.
And Doncaster Rovers has a certain pedigree in English women's football, right? I think they were obviously subjected to that unfair, I think, relegation or restructuring where they, just went down from the Women's Super League down to Tier 4. But in terms of the
Actually,
club structure,
it was through finance because we got promoted. We was in WSL1. They went up, but it was through finance and cutbacks from the club that actually, yeah, that
yeah,
the club
but
split.
still walking into that team and joining up, what was the atmosphere like, and what was,
Mm-hmm.
was it a big transition moving from what was perhaps a regional training center onto the first team at Doncaster Rovers? And how old were you when you really made your debut for Doncaster?
Um, well, I was around 17, 18, I believe. I can't remember dates. I forgot all of these kind of dates. I was about 17, 18. But the transition was totally different. The atmosphere, the environment that you're obviously in is more professional. And learning that quick transition from obviously playing with your own age to more of an open age. And especially because I'm a petite build, I don't know what you see me out in the field, but the girls are totally different build, and me, and it's quite daunting actually seeing that. And then, but I got used to it. I got used to it very quick, and yeah, now I love it. I love playing.
So, what do you remember your first game for Doncaster Rovers when you made your debut?
I don't remember my first game, but I think I remember my first goal, and how I celebrated because I did celebrate running to the cameras, obviously, like I usually do.
What was that feeling like scoring your first goal at senior level?
Yeah, it was an amazing feeling, and I was just looking over to my mum because she always comes to my matches. I was looking over, my mum was there in the crowd, just clapping and waving at me. It was a great feeling.
And,
Yeah,
and and then perhaps you enjoyed that feeling quite a lot because since then you started scoring a lot of goals, huh?
I enjoy it. I can't lie, I do enjoy scoring goals. I like setting them up. I like assisting as well, but yeah, I think I'm more of a this. I would rather score the goal than assist.
Okay, so walk us through what happened in the next couple of years from 2017 on to 2022. You were still like, a couple of good 5 odd years. How did those, transition? How was Doncaster? And you were studying at the same time as well. How
Mhm.
did you manage to cope? And you said you made your debut when you were quite young. So how does a young person cope with all of this at one time?
Well, I think I was coping quite well actually because I was just like taking it as it comes and just like living. It was basically living a little dream, wasn't it? Like playing at senior level. But I guess my dreams were a lot higher. So I didn't really see it as see it as that major. So because at the moment my dreams are still big. I still want to play at the highest possible level. Inshallah when I get back from injury. Um, but yeah, so the 4 5 years that I've been at Doncaster, to be honest with you, at international level, I only believe that I could have played for England. Um, it's only that I found out well, a year ago that I could actually potentially play for Pakistan, and I actually didn't know that I could play for Pakistan first of all, and second of all, that they actually had that the PFF had an organisation that was actually wanting to get places within the football world, and I think that was quite amazing when I found that out last year because then I had my dreams of playing international changed. But yeah, so across the 4 years, I was just playing at obviously club level and aspiring like and trying to level up from there. But then when international came along, yeah, that changed the game totally.
So, in terms of your schedule, right, help us understand what a week or a day really looks like in the life of someone who is, grinding it out with academics, playing football, and competing at a very competitive level in the UK as well. How did that look like in terms of the schedule, training, and otherwise?
Yeah, so the schedule of my day-to-day life would probably be like, say for example, on the Monday I'd have uni. So I'd be in uni in the morning, and then in the evening I'd be probably at the gym because we had no training session. The Tuesday we had training, so I'll be either at the uni daytime, training evening, and then obviously you've got your work on top of that, so you've got to balance it. So any extra work I had to do would either be after training or the next morning. But yeah, it was quite busy and then balancing because I had a part-time job as well. So a part-time job probably on the Saturday. So every Saturday I'll be in or Friday. And then because obviously uni wasn't every single day. So the mornings that I had off would either be me working or like working on my accountancy degree and stuff like that, like papers and stuff, or it'd be the gym and training. So yeah, it was quite busy to be honest. It was quite busy, but learning to balance it, I think, is very important, and having free time as well. Because looking back at the years that went whilst I was studying and training, I didn't get much free time, to do the leisure things like going out with friends and stuff, and like having meals here and there, and from even family events. But I guess you got to sacrifice and some things if you have dreams and you want your time to be devoted to something that you love. So I think, yeah, I'm happy to sacrifice some things if I want to achieve others.
Makes sense. And you were studying finance, correct me if I'm wrong, at university. And
Mhm.
you're naturally good with numbers then. But at this moment in time, were you looking at football as a actual profession, or was this something that you just were doing it because you enjoyed it?
Mhm. So it was accounting and finance degree that I was on, and I was actually looking at to become a full-time chartered accountant. I still am looking at to become chartered, but I think that's on hold a bit as my footballing career will take off, inshallah. But yeah, no, my thoughts so focused, and I think my parents as well, looking at obviously what I would want to do in the future, was mainly to become like a full-time accountant. Yeah, on the finance side.
Nice, nice. And I remember there's a distinct moment in your career at Doncaster Rovers. I'm sure there are a lot of highlights, but if I
Mhm.
would ask you, probably you could agree with me. There was that goal that you scored that was from the halfway line, about 45 yards out. My first question is, did you actually intend for that to go in the back of the net, or was that a punt up the field of sorts?
I'll always say it. That was meant to go in the back of the net. Yeah, that was definitely meant to go in the back of the net. You know, it's funny because that video, my coach was shouting on the sideline, Nick, he was shouting on the sideline, send it back. And if you listen to that, it'll sound like I've just kicked it just for the fun. But no, that was a shot.
So,
I'll always say it's a
help
shot.
us understand this moment, right? And because you're in football, you probably have like a split second to react to this. What was
Mhm.
going on in your mind? Did you see the goalkeeper off the line? Help us understand this moment when you made this decision to go long.
You know what? I never saw the goalkeeper at all. I didn't see that. I saw the ball coming at a nice speed, and I thought if I put my foot through this, it's either going to go 7 yards the opposite way or straight for the net. And then I was like, yeah. So and it connect. You know when you get a connection on the ball and you feel the flight of the ball, and I was like, yes, I've got this. And yeah, and it just went in the back of the net. Chipped the keeper, went in the back of the net, and I was like, I was in shock actually. I had to run straight to my coach. I ran
Yeah.
straight to my coach.
So what other more memorable moment would you remember from your Doncaster Rovers years during this time? Is there anything that particularly stands out?
Particularly, I think against Sporting Castle was it? I think we was 2-0 down, and I scored two goals to make it 2-2, so it was draw at the end. And these goals came like within the last 10 minutes of the game, last 15 minutes of the game, and yeah, and they came from literally nowhere. And I think scoring them goals to help it become a draw, or even a win, but help it to become a draw from a 2-0 loss was, yeah, that was a great feeling. I remember that. That stuck.
Nice, nice. And we're going to come into 2022 where a lot of things start to change for you quite quickly. But just to build more context, were you studying at this time or were you done with university by 2022?
Now 2022, I was still studying. I was in my final year, so we had a lot more exams actually in my final year. So I was preparing and organising for my exams and stuff. But yeah, I was still in education then.
Okay, okay. So you got approached to play for the Pakistan women's national team in 2022 in the summer of 2022.
Hmm.
How was that? Did you actually feel there was someone, gave you the news that Pakistan would like to call you up? Did you feel that somebody was just, messing about with you, taking the mickey out of you? What was your first reaction?
I had to do a lot of research because I was like, is this an actual like? Am I dreaming this first of all? And second of all, is this actually a real like organisation? Because I never heard it. I've never heard of the PFF. So I was searching up and oh my god, the amount of information, the amount of like content that I saw about the PFF and like how many games they've played and the women's side and the men's side. And I was like, wow. Honestly, I was shocked. I was just like, and then I started looking at other teams as well, like for example, the women's side of like Philippines, Saudi, and teams that we played even in Nepal. And I was like, oh my gosh, that actually is like a women's international, like the yeah. And I was like, what? Yeah, just amazing. And then I was like, I did think somebody was actually fooling me a bit, when they reached out. And I was like, no, this can't be. This can't be. And then, no, it was all legit and everything. I was like, yeah, crazy. And then
So,
Maria got in contact with me. And then she was like, no, girl, listen, this is all legit. Like, I'm better now. And I was like, wow. And so, yeah, she was the first player to get in contact with me to actually calm me down and be like, yeah, listen.
so when you got this opportunity, was it an easy decision for you? And how connected were you to your Pakistani roots as well in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, I was connected quite well from Pakistani roots because my dad was born in Pakistan and my mum was born here, so Even though I'd never been, like me and mum would never been to Pakistan. Um, my dad would obviously tell me stories about back then, and my grandparents would tell me stories of how they grew up in Pakistan, and especially when India and Pakistan divided
Yeah.
and split. My grandparents always used to tell me stories about how they when they moved and stuff, and how it all changed. So yeah, I feel very connected to obviously Pakistan in that sense. But yeah, crazy. I'm still a bit shocked now actually when I think back on it and how much has changed since last year. Like this time last year, what I was doing in comparison to now and how my views are and stuff. Yeah, it's totally different.
So what happens after that is that you get a call up, you join the Pakistan national team for the just in time for the South Asian Championship that is in Nepal. The team is also,
Hmm.
being rebuilt after a bit of inactivity, and you start off the tournament, your first international game, and as luck would have it, it's India. Out of all of the teams in the world we could have started with, it's India. And you're standing, there's the national anthem going on, and how does it feel? What did it, mean to you standing there and becoming an international player for Pakistan? And we understand that Pakistan is a country and football country in progress, but it is a country of 220 million people. And being one
Yeah,
of those 11 representatives on the pitch, how does it feel?
I mean, it was an amazing field just to get the call up, but then I think realization hits you when you're actually on that field, and then the national anthem, and then you've got your hand just on your heart, and then you actually have that realization of wow, I'm not just playing just for this team just here. I'm playing for all the people in Pakistan and further. I'm playing for, and it's like a different feeling that you get. Like you normally watch it on TV, when they're singing the national anthem, especially on the men's side. When you watch it and you watch it on TV, the World Cup, and you're like, yeah, maybe that feels good. But when you're actually there and you're actually doing it, wow, you can't even put into words what it feels like, and you feel like you have to put on a show and you have to make everybody proud. Like it's just part of it, and you play with your heart, and then yeah, it's just an amazing feeling.
Uh, I can only imagine what that feels like. But, we continue on in the SAFF Championship. India, obviously, being a very tough opponent, makes life difficult for us. Bangladesh, the reigning champions of that year as well, also make life quite difficult for us. But against Maldives, Pakistan has an opportunity to, carve out results, and we do so in
Mm-hmm.
quite fine fashion, recording our highest ever margin win. But
Mm-hmm.
how did you approach that game? And I ask this because in the first 45 minutes, we see a very different Nadia Khan. And
Mm-hmm.
then when we see Zulfia get injured and
Mm-hmm.
you perhaps being moved into a slightly more central role,
Mm-hmm.
it's like Nadia can't show after that. Maldives just don't know what to do after that.
It was a bit of a trigger point actually when Zofia got injured. I think I got a bit. I think fire started burning inside me because I was like, "That's one of our players. That's one of my teammates, my friends. Like she's got injured. She's been taken off. Like okay, we need to up our game." And when I actually changed the role and went into a more potential, played more potential position, I think I got more opportunity to get forward and score goals. But honestly, it's funny enough. I know I scored them 4 goals, right? But I was laughing to a deal when I scored my first goal. So I scored one of them. I celebrated, and as I was running back to get back into position for the kick to be kicked off again, for the goal to be ball to be kicked off again. Sorry. Um, I laughed at a deal and went, "I'll give you 4 goals." I meant it as in a joke, like laughing with it, saying, "Don't worry, I'll give you 4." And then at the end of the match, he just looked at me like, I was like, I don't know. I really don't know what that was, but I'm giving you 4 goals. I wasn't lying,
Yeah,
was I?
yeah.
But yeah,
You were quite clinical from what we could see that, once you got that opportunity and once you got that first goal, when you broke that duck, I think after that was just, you had that killer instinct. You were really going for it. And you could have possibly had more because Maldives was just trying to block you from putting the ball in the back of the net. But that first goal, that is your first international goal. When that ball went in, how did that feel?
that was amazing. I was just thinking, like, what are my parents thinking? Like, watching it at home. Because my mum was watching it from work and my dad was watching it from home. And so my brothers. But I was like, what are they thinking right now? They can see me in the camera. Let me go celebrate too. to the camera as well. And all the people as well that are watching it back home, and in Pakistan, like, what, how do they feel? 'Cause obviously it was my first international goal, and then I think from when I scored that first goal, I think that was my doorway. Then I was like, right, okay, I can score more now. Because I think getting your first goal out the way, I think my confidence levels grew and increased, and then I was like, okay, time to go.
Nice, nice. And the second one goes in. After the second one went in, were you like, okay, am I really gonna get a hat trick here?
I was like, I need to get a hat trick now. Like, I just need that too. I cannot leave it at two. Then I was hungry for the third goal, and then the fourth goal just came. I was like, I'll take that as well. I'll take that.
And in that process, when you scored that fourth goal, you became the first Pakistani women's footballer to score 4 goals in a game. Did you, recognize what you just done, or was that something that you realized later on that scoring 4 international goals is a pretty big one, and actually at the moment you are tied with being Pakistan's all-time top scorer as well.
No, I didn't realise that was the actual record. It's when I was off the field, someone mentioned it, and then I didn't take much notice. I was like, oh, they're probably just saying it. And then somebody mentioned it again, and actually was like, no, Nadia, it's a record. You've done a record here, and I was like, oh my wow. And then they were saying it on the news and stuff, and I was watching it, especially after the Maldives game, when I was back at the hotel, and I was getting messages, and so I was bombarded with lots and lots of messages. It was such a nice it was such a nice feeling to think that all them supporters could actually like take the time out to give you praise and stuff like that. But yeah, on Instagram, Twitter, um, and they still do to this day. Like, I get so many messages saying, "Oh, I hope you recover well soon," and yeah, it's such a nice thing to do. To take your time out and just drop a quick message. But yeah, back to the Maldives game. Yeah, it was such a nice feeling to actually think that this is my first tournament, and I've actually done a record, and yeah.
So I distinctly remember that myself as well, because after watching that game, I remember Twitter just like exploded after that, right? You've got all sorts of people commending you for that achievement as well. And within span of 90 minutes, you practically become a household name in Pakistani football, and made it actually to the mainstream, to be fair as well. Everybody who is everybody was covering it. How did that feel? And you are what 21 at the time. How did that immediate, in one day you like everybody's is talking about me. How does that feel, and how did you react to that?
I don't know, it was so crazy, like the amount of media content it was receiving. I had to ring my mum first. I was like, "Yeah, you need to give me advice on what shall I do?" Like, she was like, "Just be yourself. Do you like just talk about the goals, talk about everything." And then she was like, "Just calm, relax." And obviously, I was nervous because I've never actually received this much media attraction, media content, and everybody was asking for interviews and stuff. And me being new to this, I was like, but yeah, no, it was an amazing feeling, and alhamdulillah, I'll be back to it soon. And yeah,
Definitely, definitely.
yeah.
And Pakistan women's team continues on, and after the SAFF Championship, the team continues rebuilding and moving forward. We take part in the tournament in Saudi Arabia, which was again really good milestone for us. We're playing Comoros, Mauritius, and Saudi Arabia. Unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
you had to miss out, even though you were with the squad because of
Mm-hmm.
documentation issues. But
Mm-hmm.
was that difficult, seeing your teammates playing on the pitch, and knowing that you could have made a difference there as well? Was that hard?
Yeah, I can't lie. It was quite hard actually watching them from the stands. But I was giving my full support to them. I was training with the team, obviously, during, but watching the actual team and knowing that I could have made a difference in different ways and helped. It was hurting me a little, I can't lie, but obviously I led those things for reasons, and maybe I wasn't meant to be playing them games, but I guess um, yeah, it was hurting me a little, yeah.
I can imagine that's a difficult one, but thankfully the documentation things are sorted, and then you go on.
Mhm.
Pakistan preparing for the first real competitive test that we have. That's the Olympic qualifiers in March. The team seems to be in good rhythm. We're joined by your fellow UK-based footballers. Amna's there, Zamina's there. We're
Mhm.
looking to be an interesting squad. And
Mhm.
then you're in training, and you've already missed 3 games that you could have, added to your score tally and all. And then you get injured. So
Right.
first, walk us through what happened in terms of the injury. How did you get injured? Because from what we understand, it was during a training match.
Mhm. So it was just a training. I think it was my second training session out in Dubai, and we was having it was like a little it wasn't a match. It was basically a setup. So we'd pass the ball round, and then the end player would run on 1v1 with the keeper and score the goal. So it was my turn, and I was running along the line, and then it was 1v1 with the keeper. And basically, when you tap the ball and try to go around the keeper, well, I tapped the ball, but the keeper didn't reach the ball. She reached my legs instead, and then
Oh.
obviously I was running at speed. Whilst I was running at speed, the impact of that wasn't very nice, put it that way. And yeah, that was the collision.
And it was an ACL injury, correct?
Yeah, so it was an ACL injury, and thankfully it wasn't my meniscus, otherwise I would have been out for a lot longer. But yeah, it was the ACL had ruptured. My surgeon managed to save a bit of my own ACL because he goes, it's one of them's not fully snapped, it's intact. So he saved that, and then I had 6 ligaments put in and another surgery on the side to wrap my muscle around. So inshallah, it's much stronger. Inshallah, it'll be much stronger than my left knee. Um, it's just a lot of physio and think positive, and we'll be back to it.
So when that injury happened, did you immediately realize that it was something really serious, or is that because at times when you're playing, your muscles are really warm, even
Mm-hmm.
a difficult injury doesn't pop up immediately. Sometimes players are able to just get back up, or do you remember going down and be like, oh no?
Point that I've never had this feeling in my leg before, so I thought this is a bit different. Because I lost weight, I couldn't lift my leg up. I lost the actual whole weight of my leg, of my knee. So I was like, this is totally different to a muscle injury, or but I didn't think it was that serious because obviously I was picked up and taken to the side for medical attention. And then I was like, I should go into the ice bath afterwards, to get my muscles back going again. And I was like, take me back into the ice bath. So we went into the bath, and then I was in the pool, and my muscles were feeling okay. Like I was bending my knee, and usually in an ACL injury, you hear a click or a knock, like a sound of it cracking. But I didn't hear nothing whilst the injury when I was on the floor, so I didn't hear any of that. So I just thought it was just like like a muscle injury, or just I'll be okay, just walk it off. So I was in the pool and I was moving my legs, so that was a good sign. Not realizing that if you have an ACL injury, you can move your leg and you can walk. In fact, after I knew it was the ACL, I was at the gym like getting my leg stronger, and I was actually running on my leg with the ACL injury. Um, but yeah, so yeah, I didn't realize until like we went for a scan, and then they said you've done your ACL, and that's when it sunk in the real like, oh, I'm going to be out for a while. I think that hit me the hardest when I was told that it was an ACL injury. To be honest, I had to do a bit of research on actually what the ACL injury
Yeah.
fully meant. I knew I had an overall view of obviously what the injury meant, but like what actually in my knee what have I damaged? But yeah, it hurt me a lot actually when I found out. I was gutted. Like I couldn't. First of all, I couldn't play any matches. Like I've got all my passport, got
Yeah.
all the paperwork done, everything's done. Like I can actually officially play the game. And then now, yeah, I've done my ACL, but yeah, guess things happen for reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A colleague of mine, a friend of mine, was saying something interesting, and he was like, Nadia played so well in the SAFF Championship, and as they say in Urdu, that nazar lag gayi. So somebody just jinxed it.
Mm-hmm.
After that, you got documentation problems, you got injuries, an injury after that. But hopefully, we see you back soon. And what's the process like for you now? From what I understand, you've had your surgery. What's
Mm-hmm.
the rehab process for you now?
So rehab process at this moment. So I'm back walking, alhamdulillah. So my muscles are developing and my tissue is repairing nicely. I was actually with the surgeon a few weeks ago on call, and he was saying like obviously at this time we want your leg to be moving more and stuff. And then now, well, I'm at physio three times in the gym, 3 4 times at the gym now, strengthening my muscles so it can help with me walking and back to running.
Definitely, definitely. And in terms of your longer term plans now, of course, inshallah, we want to see you back on the pitch, but where do you see yourself in the next couple of years? You've got a long and storied career ahead of you, inshallah. What are your career plans in terms of that, and where do you see yourself going?
I see myself going and playing at a higher level, inshallah, and potentially playing abroad. I'd love to see myself playing abroad. Um, I was looking more towards Middle East, especially when
Yeah.
I saw in Saudi the level of play. But yeah, potentially looking there and actually a few places in Europe. But yeah, my heart is actually moving more towards playing abroad and out of England because I've played here for a long time and I know obviously the level of football and the competition. But yeah, I would like to see more of the world first of all, and second of all, yeah, to um, see the other side of the world of how they play football out there. Yeah, I'm moving more towards that side.
So fair to say that you see yourself playing full time football in the next couple of years and scoring more goals then.
Yeah, totally, inshallah. Playing full time and giving my time to the sport I love.
Yeah, fantastic. So with the Pakistan national team, the team is continuing its moving onwards. We having a lot of new players come in as well. You've got
Hmm.
Zemina that's come in, and she ended up scoring the winner against Tajikistan. Should have had another one actually if that hadn't been disallowed. But we're seeing new
Hmm.
interesting names come up. Kayla Siddiqui is joining in, and there are rumors that we are going to see Aqsa Mushtaq and Mariam Mahmood play as well. So how does it feel when all of you guys get together? You're all playing for the national team. What is that experience like? You're all from so many different backgrounds.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a crazy feeling, and especially to know the potential that we have with these players, and if they're all put into the same team, where we could actually go. Um, I mean, the team now, I've been watching the training sessions when the PFF have put them on Insta, and the training sessions are looking amazing. Like the first time I saw them train, because it was in the SAFF Championship, so how much it's progressed. Obviously, credit to the coaches and how they've developed the girls. But honestly, it's amazing to see. Like me and my mum always watch the videos on Twitter or Insta, and I just love to see like obviously I've watched these players like develop in their own way and progress in their own way. And it's an amazing thing to see. And obviously now with these additional girls potentially playing, it's you only can imagine where the team could go. Um, yeah, high
Definitely.
hopes.
And I have a question for you as well. So you played against South Asian opposition. You've observed other teams quite close up as well. The good thing
Hmm.
about the Pakistan team that from what I've seen is that with every game there's an improvement. Up until the Olympic qualifiers, we played against Philippines. That's a World Cup playing team, right? And
Hmm.
even without technically our best starting 11, you weren't there, and even Maria was playing through injury in that game. We only
Hmm.
lost 4-0 against Hong Kong. That's a team that's ranked about 70, 80 places above us. We went toe to
Hmm.
toe with them, for 70, 80 minutes, and with a full squad, the result could have been different. We beat Tajikistan again, a higher ranked
Hmm.
opponent. Based on your experience, and you are someone that, despite your age, it would be fair to say that you are an experienced professional given the amount of games you've played, and you've played with the Pakistan team as well, served the other countries. we're always adding more quality players. Where do you realistically see this team going in the next couple of years?
In the next couple of years, I reckon we'll be winning a lot more trophies. Like I know we came from Saudi with the silver, but I'm pretty sure if we had a strong team and I was playing and with a few others were properly on form, I reckon we could have taken gold easily. We would have taken that trophy home. But in the next couple of years, I believe that Pakistan could easily, obviously, move up the ranks in the FIFA rankings. But yeah, win a lot more trophies because I see it. Like I see the vision. I see the girls training. I see what they're like, their personalities, and how everybody gels together. It's like a little family, and that's very important in the world of football. Like everybody gelling together so that you connect out on the pitch. But honestly, the way they've progressed from how I first saw it to now, yeah, would definitely win a lot more for the country. Yeah.
Definitely. And we're coming to the conclusion of our podcast as well. I wanted to ask you, what would be your dream, club wise and with Pakistan as well? What would be that moment or that dream after which would be like, I have done what I set out to do?
Dream would be probably playing dream. Obviously, you started would be WSL1. Me playing that league. Man City uh, would be one of the main players. Playing for them would be just, yeah, no words could describe that. Obviously, playing for, but even though I support Liverpool, I'm a Liverpool
That's sad.
supporter. It's not. Yeah. No, I'll be, yeah, playing for City or even Liverpool. Yes, but I think the girls that I've seen playing at City and how they're playing, yeah, it's amazing. So that would be like my biggest dream, and then potentially for like PFF, would be playing in the Olympics. Yeah.
Not the World Cup or the Asian Cup?
Okay, when you put that in, yeah, fair enough. When you put that in, that's your biggest dream, I guess. Yeah, World Cup and Olympics. Yeah, because when I was younger, I'd always used to say, but I used to think of athletic side. So I
Yeah.
was playing in the Olympics. I always used to think, yeah, running. But then when I found out obviously the football side and football being in the Olympics, yeah, football as well.
Definitely, and I do hope your dream comes true, and we look forward to having you back. I think you are an asset for the Pakistan national team as well, and we look forward to having you increase your goal tally as well. Hopefully, get more goals for Pakistan as well. Thank you so much for taking out the time today and being with us to share your story. And thank you everyone else for tuning in and listening to our podcast. We'll be continuing these discussions as we get closer to the FIFA window where Pakistan is looking at playing Singapore in a FIFA friendly. And thank you so much for tuning in. Please do like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.